Okay, so it's been a while since my last recording, but I've noticed that lately I've had no high beam. I've got high beam when I pull the arm like this, but it's kind of like a hit and miss. Sometimes it works when I put the high beam on, sometimes it don't. But I've always got high beam on when I pull it this way. I thought I must have had a faulty relay or bad wiring or something, so got it all pulled apart, tracing the wiring and so forth, and redid parts of the wiring, and still the problem wasn't fixed. And the way it plays up on the switch here, it's kind of like it wasn't behaving like a broken switch would. Sometimes I could drive and I'd go probably a dozen times like that, during a drive, and I'd have no problems, and then next time I drive it don't work at all, and it was really strange. So anyway, working with it now that I'm back at home, and I've just been constantly doing this, and I've noticed that sometimes doing this, suddenly the high beam will work, and it might work 3 or 4 times, and then it won't work again, and so forth. So I've got my old switch out and connected it up, and my old switch works perfectly fine all the time. It doesn't have that dropping out, so it's definitely the column switch. And I don't want to put my old one back in because it has a horn problem like this here I need to replace, and also I don't have the wiper adjuster there for delay like the one from the 96 does. As you can see there, doesn't have that. So I still want to use the 96 column. What I'm going to do though is, because the switch part of it is the same, I will use this switch if I have to, but I'm going to take apart the one that's broken first and have a look on the inside of the switch to see if it's something that can be replaced or repaired. Okay, take your steering wheel off, just your standard wheel brace. I've already loosened it off, it wasn't that loose. And then leave the nut on here, and so you can now pull it with both sides, hold it both sides like that. I'm not going to be able to hold the camera and do this at the same time. Okay. There we go. So it's now clipped. And clip your other things that are around if you got any. And the steering wheel's off. Alright, so steering wheel's off. I've undone the screws to this airbag mechanism here. My van doesn't actually have airbags, but for me to have the 96 steering wheel and so forth, all this is part of the setup. Okay, so now I'm going to get to this screw here, so have a look first and see what I can get from taking this part here, if there's what's behind that, to know if that's where the problem is to fix, or if I have to get to the back of it. So again, I'm going to stop this, put the camera down. I'll be doing this a few times and just show you by stages. One thing to watch out for when you remove this little plate, there's a little ball bearing here that sits in the end here, sits in there. It quite easily pops out there, so just be mindful of that. And now that I've got all this off and I turn the lights on, I've got my headlights are working fine when I function up myself like this. There must be just a dirty contact in there, so I'll dig deeper and see what we've got going on. Alright, so I've gotten this part off now, and that's the box there. Now if I really wanted to, I could just, right now I could just pinch the one off my old column, swap it over, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to open this up, which looks like it's got a couple of clips on the back there I can get a screwdriver into and open it up and have a look at the inside, see what contacts I can clean. So that's cover off. It's only 4 clips to on the back, 1 on either side. That comes off real easy. What you've got underneath here is for the high and low beam. It's just basically a point system setup, and it's really nice and clean in here. I can see that on the other side of that in there. It does look a little bit dark, and that would be the high beam for when the switch is pulled. That'll be when it's resting. So that'll be high beam, low beam, low and high. That's right. That's when you're flashing somebody, you can hear that clicking. And when it's resting like that, that's low, and high is when it's like that. So all I can do is just have a good look around here, see if I can find anything that's obviously dirty, and I'll just give a good spray of WD-40 in here and everything as well, and put it back together and basically hope for the best, because I don't really see anything in here that stands out that it's a problem. So I'll see how I go. Another part that you can see that's missing here, that's to the blinkers or indicators. That's just your standard slider there. I'm not going to clean that up. It's got white grease on it, and there's no reason to clean that up. There's no reason to clean that up. It looks a bit messy, but it worked. I'm not going to interfere with it. So that's about all I can do right now. I'll just see if I can clean something up in there in the high beam position, and yeah, spray it with WD-40 and put it back together, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so lights seem to be happy now. Switch is working again properly. That beeping is this little thing that I added, just to let you know the lights are on when you turn the car off or the van off. Later models came out with it, mine didn't, so I added it. Australian models, that is. Okay, so that's all working now. High beam. I don't like when you pull the high beam towards you that low and high beam come on together. I'll put a relay in between that later on, so high beam is just high beam, because you blow bulbs when you hold that for too long towards you. It's mainly just for flashing, you know, and that's okay, but other cars, when that switch becomes faulty and you put it on high beam, generally the low beam doesn't go off, and you end up with high and low beam together anyway, and that blows bulbs, and both elements shouldn't be on at the same time, generates too much heat. Another story. So that's all working. New problem. Notice that when putting back together, this is starting to split on my cover here. So what I'm going to do to rectify that is get some copper tubing that I'll just cut some off, and get some arrodite on, and I'm going to put some caps around to stop that from, well, to stop this one from ever happening, and to stop that one from getting any worse, and last, you know, a few years out. So I'll keep going. I've got another steering wheel I want to show you before I'm finished here, so I'll just going to glue these together, and okay, so looks like I've got the lights under control. The glue is still, the epoxy glue is still drying on those points I was showing you earlier. So but it's all working. So just all I did was a bit of a cleanup, not much. All I did was a bit of very fine sandpaper. I had 1500 grade wet and dry. New stuff floating around, so I used a bit of it just to brush it, brush the top of the contacts, sprayed WD-40 on them, put it all back together, and my headlight switch, column switch, is working again. So now the second part, well, the next part I wanted to show you was this steering wheel. Now I think this is off a Hilux. I don't have the center part. This steering wheel was given to me, and there's the part number there. Now I looked it up once before online using that part number. I'm pretty sure it's a Hilux. Anyway, yeah, like this steering wheel was given to me. Now the difference on the bottom part is this part here. So you'll have to remember to turn the indicators off yourself, I think. I don't think that part's going to work with this. But what I like is that you can see the difference between the Tarago and the Hilux. But it fits on. And that's it. So that's, you see how it sits nicely onto the only thing is I don't think the indicators aren't going to turn off because it's not, the points here aren't connecting to the points where the indicators are, so that automatically turns off when you're turning a corner. But the steering wheel itself is a really nice steering wheel. You know, you got your volume up and down for your radio control, your scan, you change your mode for CD, whatever, and then you got your Bluetooth to talk and display, and you got your answering phone off. If I could get myself on my hands on the center part for cheap, I would. When I looked it up, they were something like $200 just for the center part because it has an airbag. I don't really care about the airbag myself because this van, being a 92, didn't come out with one. But because of the airbag function option, that center part is expensive. If I was clever enough to make myself a center myself with fiberglass or something, then you know that'd be a great way to go. I don't know how to fiberglass like that. That's going to take a lot of skill to do that. So I might keep my eyes out for the center part, airbag, and might actually start using this steering wheel one day. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you there. That's all done, and yeah, that's not. You can see the hands go. Oh no, they don't. On low beam, they're just sitting a bit low. Your fingers do. Oh, sorry. Your fingers do. So you might go like that, accidentally turn the indicator on while you're turning your corner. Your fingers might actually bump it when you're turning. So yeah, that's not much effort to, because that's metal. And that's not much effort to bend that. Just enough, like 3 mil down here bend would make like a 5 mil or more up there bend, and that's more than enough. It's not interfering with. Make sure my handbrake's on. Yep. Okay, so that's not interfering with the steering wheel over there. That's all good there. There's just one bit there that would be, yeah, sweet. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, definitely something that's going to be on the charts to get done later. I want this steering wheel working for me.